Senator Mitch McConnell thinks that, gun control should not be the focus of what Congress should do in response to the mass shootings that we're experiencing in this country. The real problem here is mental health. Let's watch.
The real challenge here is mental illness, and identifying people who are likely to do this kind of thing in advance is very, very difficult. With regard to the gun legislation over in the House, I don't think it would address this issue. But if the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Schumer, wants to bring it up, we'll be happy to debate it. But I think the focus ought to be on identifying people in advance who have the capacity and the interest in carrying out these atrocious attacks.
So understand what he's saying there, right? First of all, it's clear that he's deflecting from the fact that we have laxed gun laws that puts guns in the hands of people who clearly shouldn't have them. And he's using this other scapegoat, right? People who have mental health issues. But he's not talking about improving mental health in America, funding mental health programs so people can get help. What he's talking about here is we need to find a way to identify who has mental health issues, and then we ban them from getting guns, and then that's it, end of story, end of day. And Joe Manchin and Pat Toomey in the gun control legislation that they co-authored together in 2013, it failed in 2013, wanted to make an exemption in HIPAA regulations to ensure that people suffering from mental health issues would not have their privacy protected, so they would pop up in background checks should they try to purchase a gun. Now that's a really difficult issue to tackle. And I think that progressives need to think about the ramifications of that as well. But again, understand this is a deflection. And more importantly, it's not about solving a problem. It's about further persecuting people who have mental health issues when who's the arbiter of what type of mental health issue would bar someone from buying a gun? Who gets to decide that? I think privacy issues should be considered. And more importantly, what if these are people who have mental health issues that can be treated through a robust Medicare for all, universal healthcare system? How about that? But of course, that's not what they want to do. They just want to find ways to be even more punitive to people who are suffering from mental illness when they've been historically punitive by gutting mental health programs across the country.
I think you raised a great question about who should be the one to decide. I mean, presumably you would want experts in mental health in conjunction with people who know about guns to do it, but they're certainly not gonna be the ones who decide. The people who write this legislation will be the ones who decide. And if it's a bill that's intended to be made in some sort of bipartisan cooperation with the Republicans, then it's gonna be the Republicans who are gonna decide. And where do we think they're gonna err? Which direction? I mean, we don't even need to speculate about how severe mental illness would have to be for them to think it's okay to take your guns, let alone, or even just block you from getting new ones. When we know that, for instance, if you have had multiple instances of domestic violence, they don't want you to be blocked from owning guns. That's the whole answer, That's all you need. I don't care if someone who routinely attacks their spouse has mental problems that can explain it. The behavior should be enough by itself, but it's not for Republicans. So how demonstrably crazy would a person have to be for that to outweigh clear documented violence in the home that we know is a great predictor of killing someone eventually? And by the way, it's not like if you were just going to approach this from the point of view of evaluating what a person might do with a gun. First of all, no one ever talks about it, but you could switch from a system of them looking to your background and you getting the gun so long as they don't find something that knocks you out of contention. You could switch that to a system where you actually have to demonstrate your sanity and stability in conjunction potentially with a psychiatrist or something. We're never gonna do that. But yeah, it's not just mental illness. We would ideally like to weed out people that hold certain, there's certain political movements, extremist movements in this country that are routinely affiliated with political violence, even recently. If someone joins, the Proud Boys or the 3%ers or the Boogaloos or whatever, do we need to prove that they're insane if the organizations are made to commit acts of political violence? This conversation is not just a distraction. That would be bad, and it could be a distraction that's not purposefully limited in scope. It's both of those things.
Yeah, it is purposely limited in scope, but this isn't the first time that you've seen Republican lawmakers immediately go to that scapegoat of, oh, it's mental health. That's the issue, it's mental health. They just use it as a way to deflect from having the discussions and the debates that need to be had on gun control. And then when everyone is done paying attention to this mass shooting and our short attention spans are focusing on whatever the flavor of the day is tomorrow, Republicans move on. They're like, we did our job, we deflected. Everyone's forgotten already. There'll be another mass shooting next week, but we'll just recycle the same talking points and then do absolutely nothing. Do absolutely nothing. That is the likely outcome. They don't care about mental health. Even if they did, based on what Mitch McConnell is saying there, he doesn't want to actually provide services to people who are suffering from mental health issues. He just wants to, if he's forced to do it, limit their ability to purchase guns. And again, there are big questions about how they determine who is and is not suited to purchase a gun. Like, it's just, they have no real solutions. In every facet of governing, they have no solutions. They want to repeal the Affordable Care Act, but they have no solutions for its replacement because they don't care. They're not interested in legislating. The Republican Party, especially people like Mitch McConnell, are far more interested in the accumulation of power. That is all he has done in the Senate. In fact, he's working on solidifying his power in his own state, even after he retires. That's a story that we shared with you guys a few weeks ago. That's who Mitch McConnell is. Doesn't care about representing you or your best interests. Okay, he could care less about you. He couldn't care less about you. But he certainly does care about maintaining power for the GOP, and he's done a great job at that.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.